meeting to order. Stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks. Call roll.
President Schultz.
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Welker is out. Trustee Warner.
Here.
Trustee Pell.
Present.
Trustee Harwood.
Here.
We have a quorum present this afternoon, sir.
Okay, so we'll go right into the general permits there. I'm going to handle 37 Glover Street, LLC in Sag Harbor. This is one that I went over this with James. James, if you want to come up and help me out with this one.
Yep. It's a straightforward application.
What does it mean? The application cover sheet?
Just this, the plans.
Okay. Trustee Stafford had looked at this, it was in his area,
Right.
and he was okay with it. It looks
Yeah,
like
everything
it's
needs
like
to
it's
be
character
looked,
in the area, right?
It's a catwalk. It's in Sag Harbor Cove. Catwalk out to a floating dock, 4x6 foot floating dock. It meets the depth measurements of 2.5 feet. It's actually 2.6 feet. And meets all regulations with extended property lines, light penetrating decking, non-treated lumber. We had a couple things that we asked them to put on, like non-treated lumber, and they did that, so it's all ready to go.
James, is this the one that I looked at with you and
Yes, you looked at it
Okay.
as well as Ann
Yep.
yesterday.
Ann looked at it too?
Mhm.
And there's, these are 10 by 10 posts on what? It says on the end, 10 by 10
It's-
posts will be installed. Is that mooring posts or the?
Those are the mooring posts, yes. Those are the securing piles.
Okay.
Then the regular piles for the catwalk are 8x8.
Okay.
Meets the blue book, James?
You okay with it?
Yeah, meets the blue book.
Everybody okay?
Yeah, it looked okay when I looked at it, yes.
Okay, good.
We're advancing that.
We'll make a motion, we advance this to the regular meeting. Okay, we don't have to do a motion.
No motions.
Okay.
I'm doing Ann's two applications. The first one is 7 Pine Tree Lane, West Hampton Beach, permits by Gary.
He's here.
Uh,
So, want me to start, or you want to read it first?
Yeah, I'm going to read. It's 7 Pine Tree Lane, West Hampton, Spionk River. It's the existing 245.65 foot Navy-style bulkhead is proposed to be removed and replaced in the same place with an 18-inch increased elevation for flood control. The proposed bulkhead will tie into the both adjacent bulkheads located on the neighbor's property. An existing 22-foot section of bulkhead is proposed to be removed and not be replaced to create a indented boat slip. The boat slip area, approximately 150 cubic yards of fill, is proposed to be excavated to average low water depth of 4 feet, creating a 20 by 30 by 42 section of new bulkhead proposed to be installed inside the slip area. Also proposes clamshell dredging 10 feet seaweed of the proposed bulkhead to a mean low water depth of 4 feet. All dredge material and approximately 25 yards of clean fill soil will be used for backfill, and about 25 feet will be from an authorized upland source, will be placed upland onto the applicant property. A 4 by 112 foot untreated timber boardwalk, 20 inch maximum of boardwalk in bulkheaded area, 20 foot max in bulk. And this print is so small. 92 plus or minus feet in bulkhead area, in boat slip area, and 2 inland returns are also recommended. The proposed 10-foot buffer consisting of native wetland plants must be installed along the bulkhead. The buffer is a no mow, no fertilize, no irrigate, and salt tolerant plant. All material will be in compliance with the town of Southampton regulations. So,
You got a survey there?
yes.
To the Atlantic Farms subdivision,
Yeah, I don't know it's,
south of South Country Road.
I think he's,
Yeah.
He has to come up
I
here.
think
has to come
he
up.
can speak from there. He's gonna have to go to the.
Oh,
he's gonna have to go to the podium.
So, before he comes up.
Don't worry, I'll look at the map for a second.
So Ann and I reviewed this thoroughly. We had a lot of changes that he had made for our requests.
Here's the survey.
I believe this was on prior, another work session, so you guys are familiar with it, other than Eric, obviously. There's a 2-foot cap, which is allowed, which runs the entire length of the bulkhead. And everything's untreated, which is what we asked for, the buffer's in. So it's a good project.
What-
The property, the south and the north are older bulkheads. They're
What's-
level right now, so,
This is gonna be 18 inches higher.
right, so it'll be 18 inches higher, but it is the only one that's been reconstructed. So the other ones come in, they'll go up to match his, or that's how, how you guys have done it in the past. And I have pictures as well of that.
Yeah, the pictures
You
of
wanna see
the bulkhead that's there now, looks like the bulkhead is about between 1 foot and 18 inches above average high tide. So,
That's about average.
this is the properties that are the adjoining properties with the,
This is a good new bulkhead right here.
that's the adjoining property.
So he's not gonna come in for a long time to replace this.
Probably not, because
And we're
it's,
gonna go 18 inches above
What's
this?
that? Ann
This
went
is-
down there, she said it was pretty old.
No, this is like, right here, I can see it.
What the,
the adjoining property,
This one looks like it might step down.
This is plastic right here. That's not old.
the wood is, they're still gonna have to reconstruct that.
no, that's
That's just
the
mold.
adjoining property.
That's the
So there was no, I looked up the file and didn't see any permits for it,
No permit for this?
that since before
They did it without a
'86,
permit.
so, or they got a permit in '86, but,
Yeah.
or before '86.
This, they rebuilt this without a permit. They had to, because look at the lumber they used. The poles and the plastic.
I can see the plastic peeking through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and this is tropical hardwood, which hasn't really been on the market for that long around here,
No.
10 years or so.
Well, the project was probably done after the trustees band, which would be 95.
And this fence is all wrong. Right? This fence going right down
Yeah,
to
the
the
fence,
well
right.
is
That's
totally wrong.
Maybe you could speak on the fence, if it's their property or if it's the neighboring property. You wanna come up and speak?
Do you have an overall site map of where this is?
Just type
No,
in the
I didn't see one.
Sure.
Okay.
We can
Scott
ask-
Moses, bulkhead permits by Gary.
Let me look through this file.
Do you have an overall site plan?
You mean just a project plan, or?
I'm just trying to get a feel for the,
Neighbors.
what side of, is it off of Ringneck Road, or is it off of South Country Road, Pine Tree?
To kind of confess, I'm not from the area, so we might have to look it up quickly.
Okay. Oh, okay, I can see where it is. It's the old Atlantic Farm subdivision, okay.
It's
It's the old Atlantic Duck Farm there. Fossum did. He lived down there. Okay.
Is it
That's it.
south of South Country Road
It's
then?
south of South Country Road is where,
Where Spionk River dumps into the
Spionk River, you have
Cove.
that point that sticks out there. It was an old duck farm.
Okay.
Destroyed in the 30s.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's wrong too there.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, a lot of that work was done 10 or 15 years ago. You know, right when the vinyl started coming out, because there are a lot of problems with the CCA in that area.
yeah, well, the CCA in this area has been an issue because there's a worm in the in this area that actually eats the CCA treated lumber.
Because this slip is on the next door property,
Neighbors.
right?
Yeah, I don't believe I personally took that photo, but that is the adjacent neighbor.
Oh, okay, that's
That's
adjacent.
the adjacent neighbor's slip.
Right.
Yes, it is, Phil.
And this
Eric,
must be looking the other direction.
Eric, here
Yes.
you go. Here's a somewhat of a, on another,
Yeah, so that picture is east of the property. That new bulkhead, is west.
This is this one, right?
This is this one right here.
And what was Trustee Welker's recommendation on this?
This one, this right here, is this right here.
Okay. Right?
Okay. This was the one with the vinyl. Let me just see one. This one is, I would say, would be this one without looking at it.
north of it.
Oh, wait a minute, here. Here you go, see this?
Yeah.
This is the dock right here.
Yeah,
That one
so
goes
that's-
to that.
that's-
So
it's north of
the
it.
fence
Yeah,
that you're
yeah.
talking about is right
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
and the other fence, this one, is right here.
What
So
was
both
Trustee
sides of
Welker's
fence.
recommendation on this?
The fences weren't even discussed because we didn't see pictures of the fences.
Okay, so
Okay.
There's no
As far
recommend-
as moving it forward, yes, she was okay with it.
she was okay with moving it forward?
And the reason is that the DEC had granted a permit already for this project with the indented boat slip and raising it 18 inches because of the elevation that it is right now. I looked at it, and it looks to be about between a foot and 18 inches above average high water. This area floods terribly, and that's why Ann and I believe the DEC felt it should move forward with the 18-inch elevation change.
What is it, did they say anything about what they're gonna do to not cause this guy to have runoff?
They did not say anything about that, Billy, at all. That was not
Yeah.
discussed.
Yeah,
Because if there's another set of pictures here, and it shows a much larger area of all the properties, and they're all on the same plane.
plain,
I don't,
might cause flooding to the neighbors.
Did the DEC said 18 inches or up to 18 inches?
Maximum 18 inches.
Maximum.
So
They
if
didn't
you
say
do,
18
generally
inches.
speaking, whenever you do any type of bulkhead replacement in Long Island, and even the city, they allow maximum 18 inches.
Okay.
That's the general recommendation,
It's
though.
variable,
because
it's not,
realistically,
it's
the-
not saying 18 inches, it's
Yeah.
up to.
Up to
Okay.
18 inches.
correct. However, realistically, at some point, the neighbors are going to
Well, not
replace their
this neighbor.
bulkhead.
This bulkhead should be good for 30 years, the plastic. He's not gonna do anything there. So you go 18 inches high.
Did he
in there.
resheath it, or did he? Because it looks like the timber is really old.
No, that's just mold and on top. That'll clean right up.
Now, you can tell how old it is by the timber, the
This
piles
timber,
that they use.
Yeah, and this right here.
They're banded with
They're banded,
stainless steel.
Only started use those in last.
Well, is there any
Yes.
component, I'm sorry, is there any
Right.
component of fill coming in on this? It's just raising the bulkhead with no component of fill at all coming in?
no, there is fill coming in.
No fill, so they're just
No,
raising it?
there is dredging,
Dredging.
reclamation dredging, 4 feet below,
Okay,
10 feet out.
10 feet out.
And then 25 cubic yards of
substantial
soil
amount
that's going to be placed on top
Phil.
of that. So there is,
so there's no calculation of cubic yardage for the reclamation dredging?
no, there is not.
So should there be, I mean, if there's concern about water displacement, perhaps
Yeah,
there
'cause
should
it's gonna
be.
be, they could make a big mound and.
Well, perhaps there
Raise.
should be a calculation of what the maximum cubic yardage of reclamation dredging that's going to occur, if that's what the concern is, to be displacing water to adjoining properties. I think you need to get that calculation to see if mathematically that's going to be an issue or not.
Tell you want to put a hold on this, and I'm going to be assuming Trustee Welker's area, so I can go down there and take a short
If you're
video
comfortable
or
with that,
something.
James,
Yeah.
If you're comfortable
was
with that,
there
I'm fine with
a
it.
actual
Okay, I'll
calculation
do
of
a
the
video
amount of
so everybody can see
dredged
it.
material that was going to be taken from
It's
the
next to
underwater
my area,
on
so I'll
the
meet you if
lands?
you want.
Okay.
Yeah, we put 25 cubic yards.
Is that,
Yeah.
It's
We
got it
put
on it?
Yep, we put 25
that's
cubic yards. in the
25
bulkhead
cubic,
area.
that's the fill you're going to be bringing in from an upland source.
No,
Source.
from the. Well, if you look at the
What
It
was
says
that now?
25 cubic yards of soil backfill from an authorized upland source will be placed upland, right?
Yeah. So you still have this, you still have to
a
be,
large
Unless-
area that you were reclaiming
unless-
too.
Unless that's the material you're talking about, because the way it's worded, it's 25 cubic yards of soil backfill from an authorized upland source. Source will be placed upland onto applicant's property. So basically, it sounds like
So
you take-
maybe I phrased it a little bit silly, but basically
Well-
we're proposing around, at least how I have it on the plans. Maybe I have to
you
reflate.
have to change that, because I'd say that you could bring 25 yards in plus
plus
the dredge sport.
the
What
dredge.
was the area?
Right.
that
So, I
Yeah,
mean, generally
where-
speaking,
You had
it's
to
a lot of
dimension,
material.
was it
It's-
I mean,
6 feet by 4 feet or something?
the indented marina, or the indented marina is 20 by 30 by 42, and then it's reclamation dredging in front of the bulkhead in the Spionk River, 10 feet out from the bulkhead, 4 feet below mean low water. The whole entire 245.
That's
That was
what I
out
was
there,
saying.
could be 300 yards or something like that.
Well, you're gonna have to make well, you can calculate that out. If the
Yeah.
DEC, if you've got a permit going to, 4 feet times equals, you'll be able to calculate that.
Yeah,
If
but
it's all staying on
Well, he
site.
didn't say 4 feet, it's to 4 feet in depth, so it might be 3
Okay.
feet and he's only taking a foot.
I got you. So you'd have to make some assumptions on that and figure out and make
Because then
determinations.
we would charge them for that, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
That material that's taken from our bottom, it's
Correct.
not private bottom.
Correct.
We would charge you for that,
Right, and then you could make a better
not the boat
determination.
but not the boat slip, because that's private property.
understood. It's
Okay.
But as far as this raising the grade, let's say if you raise it 18 inches, it's quite a lot of material. So if we dredge out the area in the boat slip area, place it upland, plus the
Yeah,
dredging.
but when it rains, then all the water goes on to the neighbors.
That's what we're concerned about.
That's what we're concerned about.
I see. There would be returns, but I don't know if that's satisfactory.
This is, well, it's a very large piece of property, Eric. It's probably, was it 75 feet to the house? I mean, you have,
A lot, actually. It's from one corner to 117 feet, the other corner is 232 feet.
so basically by
right.
putting this here, Eric, it's going to be like a berm right next to the bulkhead. So if the tide's going to go around it, it'll be like almost like an island. Here are
Right.
the pictures that I was talking about, how the area looks like. This is another,
Right.
you get a,
Okay.
I mean, basically, that material and that elevation is just going to be on the very westerly part or seaward part, and the rest of the lawn is going to have the water and everything still on it. From the other neighbors, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not changing that elevation.
You want to hold it for the next meeting?
Yeah, if you wanna go up there and look.
I'll take some more pictures of it.
Yeah,
and
if you wanna
give
go
you
up there
guys
and
a
look at it.
General idea.
Okay.
And since you, in your absence, and you're back now, that the 18 inches has been a real, sometimes a contentious point as far as the permit goes.
See, quite frankly, what I think we should do is we should invite the DEC in and have them explain to the entire board the rationale towards their, how they're issuing that. Is it an issue? Is it not an issue? Is it a directive? And
Right.
address the board and let the board express what its concerns are about the increases and let them explain what their rationale is. So I'd be more than happy to reach out and try and invite somebody here to explain that. But I think it's important for us to.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Well, I mean, we're running into this more and more now, and in the future, it's even going to be more so because of the sea level rising and all the other, stuff that's happening around the water. So we're going to hold this.
Thank you.
Yep.
It is quite common, though, I must say. Like, predominantly I work in Nassau County, and it's just like clockwork. We just put in for the 18 inches.
But this is
because-
Southampton.
I understand.
I know,
I'm
but
just-
you're also reducing the floodplain too.
Yeah.
You know, when you enlarge your bulkhead there, that water's got to go someplace else. It goes onto other people's property. So we have to look at the impact,
Yeah,
On
on
either side.
a holistic approach in a certain water body.
yeah, we
If
have.
everybody else has got it high, then that's not a big problem, but we don't want to force it on someone else.
There is an instance where we have issued an 18-inch elevation change after a public hearing, and what has happened is the neighbors on both sides of it, the properties are lower, than that, and what happens is the water goes in back of it and it actually causes a ponding or a puddling between the new bulkhead and that berm that was elevated and the properties.
Okay, so what if they just kept it at the same elevation? So let's say if they didn't raise it by 18 inches and just kept it how it is now, replaced the bulkhead.
I would have no problem with it. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, because you're not
even
gonna-
if it only was 6 inches, I would have no problem. Anything
I
more
think
than
we
that.
should really take a look at this regardless. I mean, just to
Yeah.
be fair to the applicant, you know, to just sit here and arbitrarily be using these numbers, I really think
Yeah.
we need to take another look at this to be fair to everybody.
Yeah, I think Scott's right on that.
Yeah, I think like, 2 weeks or so is
Yeah.
not going to be, break the bank, is it?
They're all pretty eager to get going, to be straightforward.
But you're going to want to do the right job. We don't want to do
Right,
the wrong
right.
job either. I
Yeah,
mean, quite frankly,
exactly.
if an elevation change is warranted and mathematically is not going to create a problem with displacing water, and you're talking about a project that could last 40, 50 years, you want to get it right because of sea level rise. If that's the directive, you don't want to do it the wrong way. So
Right,
making a
right.
hasty decision now is probably not the right thing. Let us
Yeah.
take another look
I
at
get
this.
it. I'm just trying to.
It's not right for
Just
everyone in the
educating
whole
myself
area,
on the
too.
process.
I mean, what you
We-
do is going to set a precedent, so to speak,
I made a note. I'm gonna ask somebody from the DEC to come in and address this board because this has been popping up more and more. And I think to be fair to everybody, we're trying to protect the bay bottom and the resources and the shellfish, and we're also want to be mindful of adjoining properties. But we want to get these things right, and this is happening more and more. I think we need to delay this just a couple weeks to see what we can work out to be fair to his clients.
Okay, just, I've only done a couple applications here before. I'm just trying to educate myself. So I understand the process. So what would happen next? Do I just contact James, kind of walk me through it, or?
I'm going to take a look at it, we'll schedule it for the next meeting to discuss it again.
Okay, and I should
If
come
there's any
back.
questions, we'll contact you, and I'll contact you, and you can resolve them.
That'll be
Okay.
the 22nd
Right.
of January.
22nd of January.
Next work session.
And just on the point of education, just so that you understand, we're a little unique out here in Southampton Town and in Southold and East Hampton as well. But Southampton Town, the trustees, we own the underwater lands. And when you're getting into this type of permitting, we're separate from the town. So we have separate concerns. So that's why dealing with our jurisdiction may be a little bit more, involved than the other jurisdictions.
I'm aware. I did
Yeah.
some permits in Southold.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
so it's just,
Right.
we're just trying to be fair to everybody. That's all.
Okay, so
Let's do it
basically,
right.
I'm just going to table it
Okay?
and
Yes.
come back to us with questions.
Right.
Yep.
Alrighty, well, thank you.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a telephone call and send an email out right away to try and get somebody in, okay?
All right, well, thank you.
Let's talk about
Thank you.
that. Sure, like I have other ideas on that, too.
This is an application for Brian Cole, 27 Pearson Road, Flanders. I believe it's Inner Science is the consultant. The proposed construction of a 4 by 55 foot catwalk leading to a 4 by 6 low profile catwalk with open grade decking elevated 26 inches above mean high water with a 4 by 6 platform and a ladder on the seaward end. Structure will be constructed using untreated materials. This is the eastern part of the water body where Olson's marina is in Flanders behind the Matt's sheet
Matt's
metal.
sheet metal, yeah. Right.
Flanders sheet metal. It's on the eastern side. We have it tucked away, so they have it tucked so it doesn't interfere with the 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. One of the suggestions that I had made to Ann yesterday, being that I know this area and it's a very narrow, skinny, shallow channel, that the dock should maybe have some kind of a special condition, not having a boat to be able to be tied on the outer terminus of the dock, because if you put a boat there of any width, it might potentially interfere with the navigation of the channel. The Latin is
I
going
went
to be
down there with staff about 2-3 years ago, and they proposed a dredging project down
Yes.
there. So, yeah, I know this is very shallow, and there's a shoal that's right over there. I'd like to start that project up again. Maybe we can get some people water in there. I know the marina has had trouble in there, and they've been asking to have some kind of dredging operation go. for a
We've
while.
had multiple inquiries about dredging, but we've not come upon a deposition site. That's,
Right,
that is
right,
the
that's the problem,
holdback
right.
on that area.
It's no place to put it.
And the problem was that you can't get a barge in there because it's too shallow.
It's very
to take the
shallow.
spoil away.
Yes.
So, in your opinion on this, that it's not going to impact any future dredging, we're not allowing a
No.
dock to go out that's going to cause us a problem if we
No.
do want to dredge?
The dredging would be done over here and out here further.
Okay,
That's coming in like this.
Comes in like right in front of the bulkheads there.
right.
So this would
Okay.
not interfere with the dredging. Actually, it would be outside of any dredging that would be proposed in that area.
Okay,
So I mean, I did give it a pretty hard
This is
look.
pretty mucky up in here. This
It's,
one's
yeah,
up there.
yeah.
yes,
So I recommend that we
They've been up
advance
there
it.
in a couple of years.
okay.
All right?
Want to see it, Scott?
Yeah, let me just take a quick look. Thank you.
Can I just make a comment about the special condition request? Not that there is an intention to dock a motorized boat at the dock at this time. As you can see, it's a low-profile fixed pier catwalk. By the way, Brant Reiner from InterScience. The idea of limiting the property owner for any future docking of a boat there seems unfair, given that all of the properties around him have floating docks with boats attached to them. So I'd have to take it back to the property owner to see what his feelings are in that. I just think it's an unjust request for the board to make of just this one property owner when the other neighbors have motorized
I think
boats.
so you can get under 8 feet.
Well, we were talking about an 8-foot berth,
Yeah.
limiting it to it. Because if you look at it, it's a pinch point.
It is.
And if we allow put no restrictions on it, and someone appears there with a 12-foot wide boat, a pontoon boat, that you're really pushing the envelope to where
He's
you'd be able to.
saying that you can have the float,
net-
but you can only have an 8-foot beam boat tied to it.
That
That's
that
the
was
restriction.
that
I
was
mean-
the discussion, but
If you think about this, I mean, realistically, the vessel that's going to be fitting in here is going to be somewhere in the 8 to a max 8.6 beam.
Yeah, you're not going to get a big boat in there.
You're not gonna get
Again,
it.
I don't even
Unless
think
it's a
that that's an
pontoon boat, Scott.
unrealistic.
Well, that's true. Yeah, if it's a
Right.
pontoon boat, then you could be probably a little bit wider. So I mean,
so why don't we have James do the quick calculations of that dock, that particular dock, and adding.
So the plans, I'm sorry, James can speak in just 1 second, but the plans do show that there's 48 feet of width
Yes.
from mean low to mean low water. If there is a dredging project in mind for the trustees, 48 feet would allow a boat of, and if it's dredged properly in the channel, a boat of a significant beam size to get through there to get into the marina, even if there was a 10-foot beam boat.
but you know what though? Just hang on. Let me look at this for a second. But I don't think the 48 line. I think if I'm looking at this correctly, the 48 feet is going from this
mean-
line to this line, not from this part.
The blue
to-
line to the blue line, it's
Right. So if you take a look at the channel depths, right, this here, and utilize that beam width and did the third on the channel depths, maybe you'll still be okay. But I think that's more of a fair representation because the 48's going all the way up into here and your dock's going to here.
right.
Right. So if you take a look at how wide is the actual navigable channel, and then take a look at what average beam width is. I mean, even on a 35-foot boat, you're talking about a 13-foot beam width. So I don't know if you could scale this, or you could take a look at what these numbers are and show that, because there may be enough room to park an 8 or an 8.6 or a 9 and still have plenty of channel to get by.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, if the trustees wanted to do something limited in like
Right.
10 or 9 feet beam size, I think
Well,
that's something.
I was just throwing this out
So-
at a conversation.
But,
so,
but I mean, even if you look
start.
at it,
I understand.
Because-
there's probably at least 30 feet there. So even at the third, even at 10 feet, that's I mean, pontoon boat, Bill, how wide are those things?
12 feet,
12 feet, okay.
14 feet.
I don't see any reason to put a pontoon boat here, because I've seen in aerial photographs where they have pontoon boats moored out in Flanders, or Rees Bay, right nearby.
Yes.
I think a mooring would be appropriate for a beam size of that, boat side of the boat with that beam size.
You never know what people
All right,
think.
can you redraw this showing a 9-foot wide
Boat?
boat here?
Okay.
And then would that,
Yeah, because, I mean, if it meets the third test on the channel width,
So right now, as it's drawn up, it meets the regulation
Yes.
for the dock, and it allows 4 feet of room, between that third, where it then gets to the third.
So how to get to a third? I thought it was in channels that were less than 50 foot. It was a 30-foot navigation.
No,
There
I
isn't
think it's
30
a
feet
Less
here.
than 100 feet, I believe, is the third rule, right?
I think the width of this channel is about 10 or 15 feet.
It's not
I mean,
Well, I
you'd have
meant
to,
that the channel, regardless of where the channel was, it was supposed to be in water bodies less than 50 foot.
I mean,
It was a 30, was it a 30-foot?
It's measured by water bodies, not by the width of the channel.
Yeah.
That's what the code.
The water body, right,
Yeah.
right.
And the width that was taken.
I mean, I meant navigation area, 30-foot navigation area.
right, so how big is that navigation area? That's what I was getting at.
So
It's
you
hard-
get,
About 15
if it was
feet.
Is
48.
that what it was?
I mean, just guessing.
It's hard to make the determination, but I think that a reasonably sized boat would not be impeding,
tight up in there.
you know.
Mhm.
Do you have a scale?
Yes.
I think that's 10 scale too.
1 to 30.
Oh, it's 30, sorry.
Here you go.
Isn't it a 30-foot navigation area, then each side apportioned in the ratio there?
I think we all gotta get new blue books. Got the coffee stains and the spaghetti sauce.
30 feet.
I need my glass.
Well,
What's this one?
no, I got it here. It's between, it's like 20, it's a 20-foot channel. That's what it is. So if you took this and put, it's 5, it would not even be in the channel if it was,
But if it gets dredged, the channel would change, you know?
Well, you'd move it to the west to where it historically was, because that's where it's really filled in.
Right.
So it says, in water bodies less than 100 feet in width, the navigation area shall not be less than 30 feet in width. The docking area shall be generally
It's a-
calculated by dividing the resulting width
10.
equally. However, in cases where the main channel is not centered, the
Right.
trustees shall set a maximum docking line, taking into
10 foot
account
would be
field-specific conditions.
Right.
In water bodies greater than 100 feet in width, the navigation area shall be at least 1/3 of the total width within a maximum docking line set by the trustees.
Right. So if you leave a 30-foot navigation area and it's 48 feet, then you have 9 foot on each side.
And the dock that's proposed there is outside of
sticks
the
out
channel, and it's also, even with a 10-foot boat, it would be just on the cusp of the channel.
Right, so you probably do have enough room.
So a 10-foot, putting it to a maximum of a 10-foot boat would be, would acquire the boat's ability to dock there and also not restrict the channel for navigation for everybody else.
Think that's fair, Brent?
Yeah, I mean, excuse me, sorry.
It's
Brent
10
Lanner
feet
again.
tight to the boat,
I-
to the dock.
Yeah, it's-
Big
I
boats, too far.
find that to be a reasonable condition. I would just have to take that back to the property owner to make sure that they're okay with that.
Okay.
But if you want to advance it, I'm sure that we can get the answer to that before your next meeting.
As long as we just to put the boat on it, 10 feet.
Yeah, if you want me to plot a 10-foot
Yep.
boat on there, I can do that
Yeah,
as
that
well.
would be,
That'd be
Does
safe.
the cover sheet need to change?
Yes.
And realistically, the boat that's gonna go back there is probably gonna be substantial, it's gonna be less than a 10-foot.
I agree with you, Trustee Horwitz. To Ms. Dunlap's point here, I don't know that the application needs to change because it's going to be a condition of the permit. Is that
Right.
correct?
yes.
So you
Ju- Just to,
Special condition on the permit?
Yeah.
Okay.
but just the drawings showing us
So you'll
that.
work with me on the special conditions?
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, and we'll get you revised drawings.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
But the problem is that you're 10 feet out with the dock into your area already, and then you're talking about another 5 feet, so you're gonna be 19 feet out into the, you know what I mean? If you're going, he's going 48 feet.
If you're doing the third, a third, and a third?
No, it's the, for water bodies less than 100 feet.
Yes.
It's 30-foot navigation channel, and then whatever's left on each side is apportioned to
Equal.
each side. So
Yeah.
if you have 48 feet, that leaves 18 feet. That's 9 for each side.
Not to throw another monkey wrench into this, but I believe Mr. Lombardo can speak to this, and James and I had talked about this too. The water body width that you're seeing on the plan is not, I believe, is not the way the trustees actually measure the width of their water bodies. That is the way that the DEC measures the width of water bodies. It's from mean low water to mean low water. We do not have the mean high water line for the adjoining the property, the shoreline across the creek. It could be that this creek is technically from mean high water to mean high water could be more than 100 feet. We don't know that. We were going off of the more conservative numbers from the DEC, which show mean low water to mean low water. So the creek that you're seeing being measured at 48 feet is as far the way I think the trustees had traditionally measured it, could be wider. That 48 feet could be more like 80, 90, 100 feet. I don't really know.
You are using the more conservative numbers.
We are using the more conservative numbers already.
All right, okay.
I think it's something that, as long as we have the restrictions on the side of the
We'll
boat,
be fine.
we're gonna be fine there.
Instead of like that,
Thank you again.
just like that.
Thank you.
I know the other one, when I was looking at the other one where the actual depth, where it looked like even if the boat was there, that looked to me like there was plenty of pass there in the
Okay.
channel. It looked to me that way.
Well, this will be even more of a push to get this dredged.
Is that the same one? That's
Looked okay.
So can we move it ahead then?
I think it
Okay,
added.
all right.
Okay. We're moving ahead.
Also, I can put into the record, I'm sorry, I meant to do this as well. I have Army Corps and Department of State permits to show, or at least letters of approval that show that they've signed off on this dock as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's not in the folder already?
No.
Okay. I already looked at this Army Corps, this was months ago.
So yours is next.
How are you
Ed.
doing?
Okay. All right, so we're gonna move it ahead.
With a special condition.
Yes. I have 3 Duckwood Court, Hampton Bays. The applicant is Orlean Cabler and Wayne Waltzer. It's an application for a jet ski float attached to a permitted trustee dock. The depth of water is adequate, and let's see, somewhere else. Got it yesterday. The applicant's proposing to put the jet ski float on the westerly side of his permitted dock. There's adequate water, so I recommend that, you know,
And so it's permit for 3 years, right?
yes. Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm good with that.
I'm good.
Advance it?
Yep.
Yeah. It's a blue book.
Can I just get the papers back in?
It's coming.
I can make sure they're all in here,
Yep.
otherwise it's gonna be all over the place.
That's the ones from the other one.
Alright, so we're moving
Right,
that
right.
ahead. And I have one more for,
Ed, before you start there, this goes with that file with the channel.
Flanders.
that's what I said, I wanna make sure all the papers
Yeah,
get
let's go.
get back into folders here. Otherwise James is gonna be pulling this hair out.
put them over there.
Yeah,
Get them out of the way.
we got these. The next one is 7 Bayberry LLC, 7 Bayberry Cove, Shinnecock Hills. The applicant is asking, this is also inner science, to replace a 6 by 20 float dock with a 10 by 20 float dock for handicap accessibility using non-treated material. We had given permits for larger docks and different types of dock configurations in the past for handicap. I discussed it with our attorney, Joe Lombardo. It will go with the property as far as the owner of the property needing handicap access. Once the owner of the property that we have given the permit to, when he passes, the permit will revert back to the original permit.
No objections.
Or upon the sale.
Or upon the
The
sale.
sale.
Or upon the sale.
No objections to either condition.
Good with that?
No, I think, I think it's,
No, it's okay.
I think it's fair.
Special conditions?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, you're
One
writing
second,
conditions?
sorry.
I'll
One second.
work it on it with you.
Okay.
Sure, tomorrow morning.
You can come up, Tim, can you, sorry. You're a little too comfortable there, Tim.
For the record, Timothy S. McCully, Burke and Sullivan, 41 Meeting House Lane, Southampton. Just a time frame, we should add a time frame as to when it has to be done. So in other words, if a person passes away or the sale, they should have a certain amount of time to get the thing back into conformity, 60 days or whatever, or,
That's-
I would say 90 days.
90 days.
90
Okay.
days
90
would
days
be
usual.
reasonable.
okay. I just, so whatever agreement
You have to
is.
notify us.
Well, you would have to come in for a permit modification because you'd be going back to the old
Yeah.
dock. Like, we're modifying it with a larger dock for handicap. When he passes away and they're gonna replace it with the dock that was originally there, I recommend you come back in with an application.
Okay, and then you want to
replace-
set a timeline
Yeah.
at that time?
Yes,
But how long until I have to make an application?
90 days.
90 days to make an
Make
application
an
to change?
application.
Okay.
Sounds good.
James has a piece of advice.
The blue book says 60 days.
Oh, 60 days?
Yeah, I thought that's what it says,
Okay.
but
Copy of the covenant and recording page must be.
Blue
sent.
page.
All right, we'll stay with
go
that
by the
then.
blue
Yeah, stay with that.
Okay, yeah, that's
That's
fair.
changing it.
Well,
conform
it's-
to Blue Book.
It's 60 days for the application, then we review the application.
Right, and
So
it-
he'll
it's-
have
right,
adequate
it's up
time.
to the present owner to make that part of his contract of sale
Yep.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
subject to the covenant, yeah.
Yep. You want, are you going to have a formal covenant on the property?
You will draft it. We'll review it.
That's what I want to know. Do you want something filed in the county clerk's office?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, I was hoping you wouldn't ask, but I figured you would.
In light of the property and being that it's on the island, I think it's advisable we do everything legitimate.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
You all done now?
Yes.
I have 178 Fowler Street Watermill. 178 Fowler
Appreciate
Street
it, Tim. Thank you.
LLC. It's a renewal, first time renewal. Nothing has changed. It's a catwalk with a ladder access and Jules Pond.
Should advance it.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
nothing changed on it. Address of the property is 248 Tad Point Road, Southampton. Owner's name is Judy M. Bernard, Revocable Trust. It's a renewal for the first time. Nothing has changed on it. I think it should go forward again.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
Thank you.
Moving on.
I'm done.
Any other matters?
I would like to address the board, President Schultz, please. The Bay Constables asked me to bring up the subject of liaison to the Bay Constables as well as Marine Maintenance. I believe Trustee Horowitz was liaison to the Bay Constables and Trustee Stafford was liaison to Marine
Wait until
Maintenance, so if
Monday.
the board would consider that.
Okay.
And also, the DEC is behind in issuing the state digger permits. They're like 2 weeks behind. So Bay Constables felt that a grace period for enforcement of the commercial shellfishing until January 29th would be prudent, if you agree with that.
What do you think? Good? I mean, you know,
I'm okay with it.
we don't want to hold anybody
No.
up.
We can still issue our permits, but I would recommend that,
We'll just wait.
that we have them send in their DEC verification when they get it. Because
Bay Constable Tizzolo said that he felt that they just won't, he didn't, you know, that we wouldn't issue the permits, but they wouldn't be enforcing it until January
Okay.
29th, to give
All
them
right.
2-week, I believe Joe was there when we had the
Grace period.
So
conversation.
you're not going to issue the
Yeah.
permits until the state
That's
does, and
what,
then...
because I was
they'll-
confused,
Okay.
and then Al clarified and said,
Because some guys might forget to send it in.
well, right.
It's not as
So,
if there's 100
I mean,
guys
that-
out there. They
that's
know
what
who's,
Al
they
said
know
to me
who
this
everybody
morning.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
everybody is.
Ed,
yeah, okay.
I mean, it's up to the board, not me,
Well,
I'm just
but
saying.
I know some of the
I'm fine
baymen
with-
are gonna come in on windy, nasty days to get their permits, and we're gonna say no, and they're gonna go, you know,
We
Yeah.
could
But
send
Al
an
said
email out
that,
to them.
yeah, I mean, Al
All
said
right.
that, no, they would give a grace period for, you know, enforcement till the 29th.
On the subject of enforcement with the Bay Constables and commercial permits, do you think that we could have a sticker for the commercial boats so that when the guys are on patrol, they can see the clammers and know they've got a trusty
And we had
decal
talked
on the
about
boat?
that before.
Because we could print them in-house, right? And then the guys could know that that's a Southampton Town trustee, no?
100%, because the town of Brookhaven and the town of Islip do issue plastic placards.
So why don't we just do that? I mean, does that take like an act of Congress over here?
Well,
to-
either
No,
that-
it's just.
Just to give them a decal?
Either that, or you could have him give them a number, and they could put the placard on themselves, because, you know, like, Ed, how many boats you have? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you'd
But-
use a
yeah.
different boat every day,
Yeah, I know.
right?
But
I mean,
we-
why don't you have it go under a certain number and just have a number, like your
Like the Gillnet, like the
006
Gillnet
or
number
something
that I
like
But we
have.
could print
you know.
these things pretty, because we're printing in-house now,
All right, can
So
I
we-
make a recommendation? The number that is given to you on your shellfish heart, is there a specific number on the shellfish commercial?
I mean, I'm trying to think, there's probably maybe an easy way the constables
on.
can identify
I'm trying to,
just
Yeah.
by giving them a sticker. They stick it on their craft and, hey, you can see.
I think it's better off if we do the official sticker.
Yeah, we'd make a sticker up. I agree with Bill.
Yeah,
We'd make a
and change it
sticker.
every year,
Yeah.
different color.
I mean, I don't think it's a big deal, but I think it'll help the enforcement.
That's our card, right?
yeah, but
Ed?
we don't have a shellfish number. We have pot permits and everything else.
We could
Is there
start
a
it.
number
We
on
can
it?
start a number and then, you know, it doesn't take much to print this
No, I
sticker.
can't see it.
And help the guys out
there's
on
no
the
number.
enforcement.
What's that issue?
Issued 1/3/2020. Oh, wait, license number, CMR 00180.
Yeah,
It can be
I
the
mean, we
last,
could-
last number of your license or
Do
last
you
three
want it
numbers.
to be?
180.
Do you want it to be just so like maybe a different shape, like a round, or I think I'll have to look
What
at.
about the
Just give us-
four-wheel drive thing?
Yeah.
Can you change the format on that?
Yeah, they can-
Yeah, because then that would be probably cheaper because
Yes.
we already purchased that material.
Correct.
The ink cartridge, the rolls.
And it would change every year with the
So
color?
maybe the colors
Correct.
could be different.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if,
All right.
if, they, if they want, like, if they might get 2 free stickers with a boat, and then if anything more than 2,
Whatever
they
it
might have to pay.
costs,
Okay.
whatever the
$5
cost
or
is
something.
or something.
I think it'll help them out terrifically with enforcement. Not only that, but it
They're
helps
the
the
ones that
baymen out.
wanted it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Because
this
they
is
see a
the
boat,
commercial
The
the
baymen,
fishing,
the
correct?
baymen approach, what?
So
Let's
use
do
the
it.
license, use the permit number? Is
Yes.
it permit
Yeah.
number?
Yeah.
Yeah, just what, the last 3
Thank
numbers
you.
or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for the
And then
consideration.
in
Let me
large-
speak with
large
Brandy and
font.
Jessica about cost, about color,
Right.
and can I readdress the board either Monday or the following work session on this?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for the
I would
consideration.
I would recommend, since you're going to be issuing multiple license because of the number of boats and everything, that you also at that time set a fee for each
Yeah, that's what
sticker.
we're just talking, like, maybe the first sticker.
Right.
First
First two
sticker is
tickets.
part of your permit, but if you've
Yeah.
got 5 boats and you need
It's
4
$5
more,
a piece. I
it's
think
we
$5
could
a
So we
do
would
piece.
whatever
just
it
have to
costs us
do-
to do it.
Yeah, 10 pieces.
So
$10.
Joe, would we just amend the resolution for the fee schedule?
How much,
Yeah, we
let's
can do that.
determine how much it costs first.
Well, I
Right,
want to
right.
determine how much it's
Because
going to
it
cost.
may not
right.
be a huge thing, it may just
Right.
be an input, and it helps our constables out on enforcement, and it helps
Yeah.
protect our resources, because then,
But there's also staff time to issue the things.
Yeah, I
You want to make sure.
understand, but let's look at
At
it
least
from,
we'll look at it tomorrow.
Yes.
And
Wonderful.
the fishermen that already received their licenses, we'll just print them out, one copy.
yeah, I
the
don't
sticker.
necessarily think
And
it's a
tell them if they
revenue
need
source.
more, they come in and.
Yeah, well, they're the ones that have brought it to our attention over the last couple of years. So
Okay.
I think
Let's
it's
do
a
it.
You
really...
could even do it for, like, if you have parts, you set nail parts and stuff like that, then you should know that it's an in-town boat setting parts or going what do you call it?
Gill netting,
Not a gill net, but shiner.
I think it'll help.
bait fishing, anything you do.
It'll help protect the resource and
You
it'll
do
help.
get those people from out of state. I mean,
Right.
No.
up west.
Well,
from
it's,
down,
right,
bait
yeah.
fishing.
Any, it's a marine permit license, so
Yeah.
anything that we permit would be, on that sticker would go with it.
It'll help. It'll help with the enforcement and
I
protection of the
Super
resource.
too.
No, that would be,
Yeah.
yeah, anything that's done on the water. That would be, accountable for.
It's good.
Good, thank you
Okay.
guys.
There was a derelict boat at Baycrest. Ron Barnish picked it out of the water and put it on the beach, so we're now the proud owners of a boat that needs to be either put into the dumpster. I have a call into Christine Fenton. She's not in the office this week about asking her the use of a dumpster and have it put in a dumpster and have a contractor smash it up and bring it to the landfill. It needs to be done. It's been a year sitting around and it's finally ended up in our possession. We do not know who owns it. They've tried to research it and they have not found an owner. So I think it's something that, it has to be done.
Okay.
So I will contact Christine on Monday and see if she can facilitate a dumpster and, I don't know, having some kind of machinery down there or a bobcat to smash it up.
Sounds
Right.
good.
Fiberglass.
Who's handling the bacon?
I think so, yeah. It's in bad shape.
We should leave the response. What else was he want to know? Who's handling bacon?
We'll leave it right now, is
Leave
what
it.
it is.
Marine
Who's in
maintenance
maintenance?
and Bay, who's liaison to Bay
You're going to
Constables?
do maintenance?
Yeah.
And I'm doing the constables?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
We
I
should talk
I
about it
can't
on
hear.
Monday when Nancy.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to discuss it.
Should I put it on for a formal discussion, or are you going
What?
to
What
discuss?
is that?
About the liaisons?
Yeah, put it on for formal.
Okay.
Yeah, because Ann should be here.
It's fine.
Fair.
Yep.
And Middle Pond, the channel was not dredged this year by the county, and it's filling in to the point in the winter season that it's not going to be navigable in the summer season. I'm going to ask the Bay Constables, or will ask the Bay Constables to go down there and do a depth sounding. Maybe we're going to have to hire a contractor to go down there with an excavator and pull
Yeah.
that point back. So I'll get that going before the season, boating season, all right?
Sounds good.
May I add something for the discussion for the future? A couple of weeks ago, Ed had asked me to check with East Hampton to see about the kayak permits and storage. I did make a call to East Hampton, and the rack system that they use is just, what do they call it? Fence?
Split rail fence.
Split rail fence. They put two of them parallel, and I think they charge $25, but they indicated to me that they make a considerable amount of money to issue it. It's something that we should, perhaps you want to look at before the
Yeah, so
season
there's a lot of,
begins.
there's a lot of places where we can clean up, like down in your area, down by
Argonne
Shinnecock.
Argonne Road, down by the bait station there, by the old motel.
Arcadi.
Yeah, exactly.
Shinnecock Road.
Yeah,
The
Shinnecock
Palm
Bay.
Brook Bridge
Yeah.
launching ramp.
Yeah.
Why I'm really harping on this is because I've listened to the Coast Guard multiple times in the last couple of years, finding kayaks afloat in New London Harbor, Greenport. There's no one there. They don't know if the person fell off or drowned. There's no numbering system. There's nothing on them to know who it belongs to. My thought would be to have each one of the kayaks, when we issue a permit, it goes on that kayak. So if someone takes it and they find it out in Peconic Bay, they'll know who it belongs to and to notify those people and at least have a place to start searching. It's
It's a good idea.
there's a lot of people that are
Yeah,
potentially could
we've been talking
end in a
about that
bad
for a while.
end in a bad end
When I was
in a bad way.
surprised when the person in East Hampton told me how much they make in a year
Yeah.
on it. It's substantial. If we could also check perhaps if the stickers will stick to the kayaks, because
Yeah.
that's,
So you can use a boat sticker.
well, but I don't know if
Yeah.
our
Oh, our
sticker,
sticker.
it'll work for a bumper, but I don't know if it'll
Yeah.
work for that type of
They
plastic.
have to be smooth.
So, but
Well, I mean, it also affords the public the luxury of leaving their kayak or water vehicle, whatever it is, right next to the water, so the next time they go down there, all they have to do is bring their paddle and their, you know,
Right,
their
life jacket.
sneakers and their life jacket and go out.
Yeah.
So it makes it that much easier for the public to use.
You're not
The water.
guaranteeing them a spot, but you're guaranteeing them the right to do so.
Right,
so.
yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Anything
well,
else?
No, I think that's it for right now.
Okay. Then make a motion to move this to close the hearing and move into executive session, discuss personnel.
Thank you.
Work session.
Second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.